Dr. Oz is running a pretty awful senatorial campaign in Pennsylvania against John Fetterman. And it's got a lot of attention because he's had these cartoonish kind of mess ups. And the most recent, and this is not the center point necessarily of our discussion, the center point, and I'll get to what I was about to say, is just what is he doing? What is Dr. Oz doing? Why is this falling apart so miserably? And Trump agrees with us when we say that. A report came out about how Trump behind the scenes is saying that Oz is going to effing lose, which is fascinating considering that Trump endorsed Dr. Oz. So I don't know what's going on. And some people literally have said, are the campaign staff of Dr. Oz's campaign trying to tank him on purpose? Because he's not hitting the mark. So here's an example. He was in a shopping mall. Y'all have all heard this now. It went mega viral, but the crudité. And we're going to get to something you probably haven't heard about yet in response to the crudité situation. So he was in a supermarket trying to complain about high prices, which prices are high right now in grocery stores, and talked about how he's getting the ingredients for a crudité. And no one really knew what that was. So then he kind of got blasted for being really pretentious. And I guess it's just a veggie dip. You get a bunch of vegetables and then dip it in ranch or something. I don't know specifically, but it seems just like a veggie platter was what John Fetterman called it. And he got a lot of backlash for it. Now, I don't necessarily think this is something that's horrible at all, or even that funny, because to me, there's so many words that I'll randomly learn and then start using them, and they're just so pretentious, but just for fun. And then there's words that you wouldn't know are so pretentious, but like charcuterie board. Really? Charcuterie board is like literally just crackers and cheese and jam. And it's a cool name though. Charcuterie. And everyone uses that one, right? Anyways, I get it. Sometimes you learn a new vocab word and you want to use it. In his case, he is a multi-millionaire. So he's more fun to make fun of for stuff like this. So here's him in a grocery store getting his crudité fixins.
Thought I'd do some grocery shopping. I'm at Wegner's, and my wife wants some vegetables for crudité, right? So here's a broccoli. That's $2. Not a ton of broccoli there. There's some asparagus. That's $4. Yep. And carrots. That's $4 more. That's $10 of vegetables there. And then we need some guacamole. That's $4 more. And she loves salsa. Yeah, there's salsa there. $6. Must be a shortage of salsa. Guys, that's $20 for crudité, and this doesn't include the tequila. I mean, that's outrageous. And we got Joe Biden to thank for this. Thought I'd do some grocery shopping.
Okay, so he's trying to attack Joe Biden, and it pretty much just went back in his face, and everyone was making fun of him, and it was great to see. Again, I don't care that much. It's more just another example of how out of touch he is, because he is a multimillionaire who lives in New Jersey, pretends to live in Pennsylvania to run this senatorial campaign, but long time resident of New Jersey, and then just saw this opportunity and is kind of a little bit silly to think that he's someone who should be in this position. But an example of how bad his campaign is running their campaign, they responded to this saying, quote, if John Fetterman had ever eaten a vegetable in his life, then maybe he wouldn't have had a major stroke and wouldn't be in the position of having to lie about it constantly. So a staffer of Oz's campaign responded that way. It's, don't do that. Don't respond to a bunch of people laughing at you for calling something a pretentious name with, well, John Fetterman should eat more vegetables. Maybe that's why he had a stroke. Nah, I don't think many people like laughing at someone's stroke. I'm going to be honest. And that's been one of their massive lines of attack is, oh, he's not campaigning that much. John Fetterman isn't. And, oh, he's not fit for this position because of his stroke. And it's like, I just don't think that's going to resonate with people. If you can show it good examples of him not post-stroke being mentally fit for the job, that's another thing. But everyone has disastrous health events on occasion, and as long as they bounce back from them and people trust that they have effectively bounced back from them, then it's not something that anyone's going to enjoy watching you clown on, you know? And so that's another example of the communications member of Oz's team just really missing the mark on a response to the crudité video. What they should have done is come up with a really funny response, like, my wife just taught me that word, or something silly, not something jabbing at John Fetterman's stroke. Okay. And then he gets asked about this, and another example, just, he should have something ready. This was viral for so long before he finally responded. But here's him being asked on Fox about it.
The latest poll shows Fetterman leads Dr. Oz 48 to 43. Dr. Oz joins us now. Doctor, do you wish you could take back using that word, crudité?
Because I'm proud of all the things I've done in my life. My father was an immigrant to this country, grew up on a dirt floor, and he believed in the American dream. He was pretty clear that if you work hard and serve each other, you'll make this country even greater than it was before you were allowed to come here. And whether I pick words that are not conventional ones or not are irrelevant to the bigger challenges that we're facing in the Commonwealth in Pennsylvania. I'm here at Robinson Fans.
Okay. Then he gets to his next thing. I'm going to be honest, guys. I hate when politicians do that. I know left, right, and center, they do it. I see so many Democrats, but they get asked a question. It's like, my grandfather was a hardworking man. He went to the steel mill and he worked his butt off. I don't care about what they did. Okay. And putting it in like a cool story does not change, how I think you would be as a politician. That's an awesome story that your dad's a hardworking man. Doesn't necessarily mean you are, buddy. And also doesn't necessarily mean that even if you are a hardworking person, which he is very successful, so good for him, unless he got there in a bad way, that doesn't mean that you would be good in the government, right? We have this weird perception now that every rich person should run for political office, or every celebrity is someone who should run for political office. And it's just silly, because to me, you showing that you have a life of service towards people and a life of wanting to make people's life better, and of course, if you have an understanding of the law and our government, all those things, that is meaningful. Just you having a big name, Dr. Oz, and you've been on TV, doesn't qualify you, and doesn't show that you genuinely want to make people's lives better. Now to the part that I promised we'd get to, of Donald Trump, not believing so much in Dr. Oz either. So reading from Business Insider, quote, former President Donald Trump said that Dr. Mehmet Oz would effing lose the Pennsylvania Senate race if he doesn't change his campaign strategy, and questioned how such a well-known television personality could be lagging in the polls. In private conversations, Trump has called for a course correction for Oz, who in recent months has seen his standing fade among Keystone State voters, per two sources who spoke with the publication. Lieutenant Governor John Fetterman, the Democratic Senate nominee, now boasts constant leads in most major polling after he recently returned to the campaign trail this month, following several months of recovery from suffering a stroke in May. So there's different gaps on the Fox News poll. It was a single-digit gap, but I have seen one that was a double-digit poll. The former president has even asked if the public polling is phony, but several individuals have informed him that the numbers are accurate. He said he always wants to believe that. This is not a matter of the polls being rigged. There are major problems with this campaign, and more specifically, this candidate, the source told the publication regarding Oz's campaign. The source also indicated that Trump said he thinks it would be incredibly embarrassing for Oz to lose to Fetterman. And according to another source, Trump has also wondered if he should have withheld his endorsement of Oz. So Trump's wondering, why did I endorse that guy? He's making me look bad. And wondering if he should have not endorsed Oz in the primary. So of course, Trump is largely the reason in my mind. I would have to look back at kind of the polling throughout the race to say this more confidently. But one of the things that really helped Oz win the Republican primary for that Senate nomination was Trump's endorsement. And so now Trump's wishing he didn't, maybe. And that's fascinating. And I think this is an example of Trump seeing the same thing that we're seeing, which is Dr. Oz just running a horrible campaign. And also on the other end, you have someone, John Fetterman, who I do think appeals a lot to Pennsylvania voters, and generally appeals to a lot of people. He comes off a lot more authentic than most politicians, very unconventional, but then also very progressive. And so you have that blend of someone who seems like an everyman, which is all usually kind of a cringy thing to say because it's politicians pretending to be something they're not. But I think John Fetterman has that at heart, plus awesome progressive policy positions. So seeing him win so much right now, leading so much in the polling, and hopefully winning this race is super exciting. And I cannot wait to watch Dr. Oz go down.